This is Viewer Takeover, where we film every... Oh, God, we changed it again.
I think we're on Mondays now. I think we're going to lock into Mondays.
We film every Monday night, and then we air it every Tuesday afternoon at Eastern Standard Time. Or Tuesday noon Eastern Standard Time.
Which means Brian doesn't sleep.
Well, I mean, that's sort of a thing anyway.
Yeah.
So and what we do is we, try to answer all your questions and make you the star of the show. As always, my name is Brian Paul. To my right, your left, Desiree Lestrange.
Hello.
Hello. But before we do anything,
Yes.
we want to thank Chapulin's Tramp 67 for that amazing Viewer Takeover No Man's Sky intro.
So is there a way he can flag that so we can go find it? And land there?
That's an excellent question.
Because he built that in the game,
Obviously.
right? So
Yeah, you have to tell us how email.
wait, so
Yeah.
maybe we can do a real world meetup on October 19th, and maybe we can do an NMS meetup
There we go.
at the headset.
Yes.
Maybe at the headset.
On Planet Gamecat 1. So
Ooh.
I named my first planet.
Oh,
I named it Planet Gamecat 1, and then No Man's Sky assigned it as a planet.
Planet
Planet Gamecat 1. Yeah, I'm new at all of this. So thank you very much, Chapter,
that was
for
very
that
cool.
amazing introduction. If you want to introduce next week's show, well, you definitely have a chance because we don't have any in the queue. So email your short, sweet, seductive, just literally show us your face and say, hey, I'm whatever the Game Cat, and welcome to Viewer Takeover. Nice, short, and simple, right? Mm-hmm. We don't ask for much.
No.
We don't ask for this Chapulin Stramp crazy production work.
Chaplin.
But we do appreciate it.
Chaplin's Tramp. It's a reference to Charlie Chaplin.
It is.
Chaplin's Tramp.
Damn, I think I'm confusing him with someone else because there was someone else, Chapulin something. I apologize. Chaplin's Tramp.
Chappie Chinstrap? What?
Huh? Yeah.
Chaplin's Tramp.
Did I say it wrong every time?
Pretty much.
Do I need to restart the episode?
Nah.
Are you sure?
No, this is good
I
stuff.
think I need to restart the episode. Sorry, dude. Also, make sure you know what? Yeah, we want to thank a few other people.
What? Yes.
And they're actually these people right down here. These are the people down here that went to patreon.com/withoutparole.
Games.
They're giving us $1 or more every single month. Literally, when I tell you it makes a difference, I promise you that it does. We only ask $1 from each of you. And man, oh man, if it adds up, it adds up. Or when it adds up, it adds up.
Yes, it does.
So head on over there and hook us up with $1 or $2 or $3 or $4 or $5. Some people give us a whole lot more, and we appreciate the crap out of you guys.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and we do try to give a little bit back for the loyal Patreon supporters. Not only do we put your name on this list down here, if you select the Gamecat Unite option. We want to keep those anonymous people anonymous. But also, we every week or two we film a Litterbox episode. And the litter box is just Des and I shooting the shit about something, telling you something behind the scenes, and we talk about it and upload it for you.
This week you get to hear us sing.
It wasn't pretty.
It was all right.
It was okay. We probably
For no rehearsal.
Yeah, we probably blew out the mics or something. It's crazy. And then two other things before we really get the ball rolling here. We're selling shirts. We're selling.
Yes. This one exactly.
Called that. Not
I'll
exactly.
put this on eBay.
No, I'll sell tie. I'll sell the tie.
Shirt off my back. Ooh.
You weren't anything under that. I just saw it in the monitor.
No, I'm not. Forget about
God.
that. Yeah. Sorry about that,
Do I have to
folks.
censor that? I think we need to start the episode.
Des, we need to talk. Patreon support went down
if you're
5,000%. We're $50,000 in the hole.
If there's some shirts missing from the store, if there's items missing from the store that you've seen before, it's because I got a little bit of feedback from people who bought some. Some of the logos weren't showing up as well on certain colors.
Ooh.
So I wanted to go back and maybe kind of streamline the color selection and make sure that people are buying the stuff that looks good only. Also, look forward to a lot more selection soon. Also, October 19th. Is the official Gamecat Meetup. We're all going to get together at Six Flags New England.
Hey, 1919.
What's 19?
2019, October 19th.
Oh, it is. Hey. That's true. Very true. 10/19/19, and we're gonna go on rides. We're gonna hang out, and we're gonna do a big Gamecat meetup. We're gonna have a lot of fun. So make sure you I'll put the Facebook event thing in the description. Just click that. Let us know that you're coming, so we have an idea of how many people to expect. It's only a couple months away. You gotta start making your plans now. And then finally, the last group of people we want to thank before we get the show rolling.
Yes, there is one way to support. Of course, we talked about Patreon support. That's super, super important. But let's say you've already done that, or for whatever reason, hey, you can't support us like that. No harm, no foul. Here's a way you can support us. It doesn't cost a penny. Go ahead and follow the Beauty and the Decays lead. Matt the Game Cat, you are back. Welcome back. And yeah, go ahead and change your name to something the Game Cat. Very easy way for you to show your support. So that way, even if you comment on someone else's videos or some other reviewer, not that there are any other reviewers, they'll say, hey, what's this Gamecat thing all about? And you can say, oh, it's these cool folks over here.
Right.
So this week, we would like to thank Hack the Gamecat,
Bing.
Bing, Mr. Musically the Gamecat,
Bing. I don't know where these things are showing up.
K-Panic, the No Gamecat Sky,
A big
Yeah.
happened, I'm sure. I edited it. Yep.
Nathan No Man's Gamecat. I'm sensing a theme.
Yeah, popular game.
Marlo 30 White, the Gamecat.
Marlo 30 White, the Gamecat. I'm sure there's a story there.
Marlo Thomas? That's the only Marlo I can think of.
What's the 30?
I don't know.
Born in 1930?
Marlo Thomas hasn't been 30 for a very long time.
No, neither are people who were born in 1930.
But there's still time, the Gamecat. And, oh, someone after my Zappa loving heart. Don't eat the yellow #Gamecat.
Hey, hotcakes.
Yay.
Always make an appearance. Thank you so much, guys.
Is Hotcakes a Zappa fan, or was that for me? I wonder.
You know what? I think it's been a while since you made a Zappa reference.
This is true.
I can only assume that he's also a fan.
Boom, boo, doo.
Thank you guys so much. If you do change your name to Gamecat, or if you've already changed your name to Gamecat and we haven't given you a shout out yet, make sure that somewhere in the comments you put #Gamecat, because that's what I search for before I make this list and edit your names in all over the place. It's because we don't want to miss anybody, but also it's way too hard to keep track of everybody. So if you don't tell us, that we can't give you a shout out. But seriously, how awesome is it? All these people.
It's crazy awesome.
It's awesome.
Yes.
We love you all so very much.
Cost you nothing except your pride.
That's right. and then the way we find all of our viewer takeover questions is we search the Discord. Make sure you join our Discord. The link is in the description for the viewer takeover channel on there, and then we look at some questions, or we search the comments for the #viewer takeover.
Yes.
And we choose our favorites, or the ones that we think we have good answers for, or at the last minute just copy and paste all of them into a document, and then we answer them. So starting off this week is K-Panic, the No Man's. This is so hard to read.
K-Panic, the No Gamecat Sky. Don't think of what it's referencing. Just read the words on the screen.
Yeah, that's impossible. You know when they have the color words where it's like a yellow word.
Oh, I love that.
I hate that because I can't do it.
Oh yeah, nobody can. That's what I love.
All right, K-Panic, the No Gamecat Sky from the Breaking News Report writes #viewer takeover. Can't wait for No Man's Sky. No shit, huh? Having played the flat version, what's your guys' threshold for graphics fidelity in VR and still being an epic game versus disappointment? It's like he knew what game we were talking about on next week's episode of Why We Love PSVR.
That's true.
No spoilers.
You know, I was just forming the sentences in my brain. It's like, I don't care so much about that. But then you reminded me about that, and
Here's the thing. I think you take a game like Kona, right? And Kona it looked pretty nice on PlayStation 4 proper, and then they kind of jammed it into PSVR, and we lost a lot of resolution.
Yeah.
But the gameplay was still there, and although it was harder to play the game because you couldn't really see the map or some of the things you needed to see, you could still hop in a car and drive around. You still hop in on a snowmobile after you've driven it and stuff. The gameplay was still there, and so I feel like after an hour or so, I didn't even notice that the graphics were kind of crappy.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think there's not. I think if No Man's Sky delivers the same gameplay experience, they still let us run around and they let us jump directly into the ship and take off into the galaxy and then land on another planet, and they let us hang out with our friends, and it plays the same way, then it could be really low res and blurry, and I would still probably enjoy it quite a bit.
Well, I think that's the key there. The game that shall not be named, a lot of that game, the importance of that game was the feeling that you were in that place, and a lot of detailed, living in a detailed real world. And the fact that the graphics were so bad was a huge detriment to that experience. No Man's Sky, I think the key there is freedom of movement.
Yes.
It's being able to go anywhere and do anything, even if those things will get you killed. You can still, you can run around anywhere on the planet, you can fly anywhere. So in No Man's Sky's case, I think I would be okay with taking a hit in graphical fidelity as long as it does give that same sense of freedom and flowing movement. Again, like you said, being able to jump in your ship and take off. If that gets bogged down and chunky, like I think I mentioned last week, I tried doing remote play through my laptop through work, and like having your guy kind of doing one of these things did not improve the gameplay experience.
Right.
So if that's what it ends up being,
And we say, I feel like we've brought up Smashbox Arena quite a bit recently, but talk about a game that just doesn't look very pretty.
Yes.
But man, it's so much fun.
Right.
And so if you get the fun factor, if you get the gameplay, there are a lot of things that can make up for graphical fidelity.
Yeah.
You know, you can still have solid immersion even if the graphics aren't awesome.
What if they just completely throw out the graphic fidelity and it's just like wireframes and cell shading?
It's like vector graphics.
Yeah.
I'm down. I'm down. I want to play No Man's Sky on a Vectrex.
Take on Me, No Man's Sky edition.
There we go. Yeah. You get pulled through the.
Actually, that probably end up taking more power to pull off. Anyways,
who knows? You're up, Asia.
So, a little bit of deja vu here.
I think you're double dipping with a different screen name, buddy.
Unless, what if it actually was just a random coincidence? There are actually two different people named Cape Panic.
Both of the little avatar pictures.
Yeah.
They're different, but radically similar.
Oh.
They're both a dude with like half his face ripped off, but it's like two different dudes.
Okay. So, as we may have hinted, this is from K-Panic. Not K-Panic, the No Man's Gamecat. Damn it.
Oh, you did it.
I did it.
You said yellow when it said blue.
Because I tried to do it without looking. All right, so K-Panic on Prepping for VR, Episode 1. #viewer takeover, like a pro. If NMS VR becomes the biggest game to draw new PSVR headsets, can the channel picture some sort of weekly live stream to have Gamecat's progress in multiplayer? It would be such a draw to the channel. Plus, Brian won't have to stop playing for the sake of other reviews. That's going to happen anyways.
Unfortunately, yeah. Like, I remember when I said I was going to play Skyrim like for an hour or do like a 3 or 4 hour live stream of Skyrim every single week. I haven't played Skyrim forever.
Although I just reinstalled it. Yeah. I finally broke down and got an external hard drive.
Should have finally broke down and gotten a Pro.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
An external hard drive was $60.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot of fun. I really think more than Beat Saber, more than Skyrim, more than any game that we've gotten so far in PSVR. I think No Man's Sky is going to be the game changer.
In Beat Saber?
Because No Man's Sky sold millions of copies.
Yeah.
And so suddenly millions of people have a PlayStation VR game in their house. And so it's going to be an incentive for people to buy a PSVR, especially the people who have been super loyal No Man's Sky players from day one and have grown with the game and seen it through all of its patches and updates and took it from that day one where it was okay but didn't deliver on all the promises to now where with Next kind of exceeded the promises and then Beyond, which is going to blow the door off things. I think those people who are hardcore No Man's Sky fans are suddenly going, I can take this game that I spent 300 hours in and continue to play the next 700 hours in VR with all of my friends and wave at them and use motion controls and you actually have that gun in my hand. I think this is going to be a game changer. They're going to take it off the shelf and go, I'm not playing this game to its fullest potential. It's time to buy a VR headset.
Okay.
That's my take.
I guess, I didn't quite picture it that way. For me, when I think system seller, I'm thinking I don't have one of these in my house. What is the game that's going to make me buy it?
Yeah.
I think you're right because you have that install base that's there already. Yeah, okay, I can see that argument. As far as a weekly live stream,
I have a problem. Yeah. Where when I do live streams, it's not like an hour or two.
Yeah.
It's like 7 or 8 hours. And so that sounds really fun. But if I could keep it to maybe like a weekly 3 hour stream or something like that, if I could actually rein myself in, I think that'd be fun. I think that'd be really fun. And especially, if I know that I don't even need to be there all the time because, I think Dave and AJ both have stream keys. They can be the ones, taking the lead and getting all the cats together and stuff and playing on the channel. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe
it's time to dust off the calendar.
Maybe it's time to dust the blow off the calendar. All right, I'm up. From our good friend Billy Pod, the Gamecat. Brian always says that Resident Evil 7 is his favorite PSVR game, and for good reason, sir. But what would Capcom have to do to make Resident Evil 8 an even better VR game for you? Ooh. And Des, what would Capcom have to announce for Resident Evil 8 to make you excited for it? He knows us well. #viewer takeover. Good job, boy. Good job, boy. Nice. I want to say good boy job. No, that's not it either. What did I want to say? I don't know. Good boy. Who's a good boy? Billy boy. First of all, it needs to exist.
Sit, Ubu, sit.
Good dog.
Good dog.
But Resident Evil 8 in VR to be better than Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
First of all, it has to exist. When Capcom released Resident Evil 2 Remake with no VR support, I was like, what is going on over there?
He took it personally.
I did. I wrote. I got a petition started.
Kojima.
Right. I started praying to alternate gods. It got weird around here real fast.
Is that hit? No, that's not Kojima, is it? I'm sorry.
I mean, I prayed to Kojima because I feel like he's powerful enough that he can make something like that happen.
He probably could.
It's not Kojima, but
No,
you
it's
know,
not.
it's
I'm
like,
sorry.
is it still Shinji Mikami? Is he still part of that? I know he's like kind of the father of Resident Evil, but I don't know if he's still involved. Anyway, the point is I think for Resident Evil 8 to be better than Resident Evil 7 in VR, we need some move support. Because as much as I love that Resident Evil 7 feels like a game.
Yeah.
Because you're running around with DualShock 4 and you're doing inventory management and you're clicking all these buttons really fast and you don't want to think about what you're doing, so like the DualShock 4 kind of makes sense for me.
Yeah.
It loses a little of immersion.
Yes.
And there's nothing scarier than something coming at you when you have your two hands in VR and you're like, like this is my best defense right now because I'm too scared to fire my gun.
And if it actually works and like you actually take damage.
Right, because that is a move in Resident
Right.
Evil 7
Yeah.
is to do the block.
Yep.
And so to do that in real life, amazing. So that's number one. Number two is I think we need to make sure Resident Evil 7 was really good at going back to its survival horror roots and staying away from the action. But I think during the cruise liner section, it strayed a little bit too far back into the action territory. It was fine. Like, don't get me wrong, it was the worst part of that game.
Yeah.
Maybe the caves were the worst part of that game, but it was still
There was
great.
a significant drop off in quality once you left the house.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I just want to make sure that like it's still very much all about survival horror and maybe even more so. Right? So and I don't know. They've started doing just like random stuff with Resident Evil. It's not really zombies anymore. And I think I'd like to see it go back to the zombies from like RE1. Where they're slow and plotting, but suddenly you're like, I have, 3 zombies to kill and 2 bullets. What do I do? Yeah. So I'd like to see that happen. What about you? What would make it something you'd be really interested in?
I'd like to clear up a misconception. I don't think Resident Evil 7 is a bad game. No. I think it's one of the best horror games probably ever made. And certainly the best for the PSVR, no question. It's just horror games in general don't really work for me.
Can I alter the question?
No, you can't, because Billy Paw wrote that specifically, and I don't want to change a single word of his.
Oh, if you have a great answer for it, then
No, go ahead.
I'm going to add an addendum. Then you can answer his question.
Addendum, yes.
But my question is, what would make it scary for you?
I don't know. I don't think the problem is with the game. I think the problem is with the devs.
I think we do need Kojima's help because Kojima could read your memory card and find out your real name, and then he could start like. And this is something that this is. I think this goes back to like a old Midnight Games Cast episode. Like, what would the scariest game ever be?
Yeah,
is if somehow without my knowledge, the game was able to access my Facebook information and start putting that into the game in strange ways. Like you go by a like a bureau with some frames of photos on top of it, and like as you walk by you're like, was that my mom? And then you look back and it's not, but it was the first time. And it's like all these little things that that are screwing with your brain because it has access to things that it shouldn't have access to. And like you hear a whisper and it's actually your name, and you're like, what was that? And then you take off your headset and you're like, is somebody here? What is going on? And that kind of stuff, which obviously couldn't happen, which technically could happen, but it would be
it'd be pretty easy to do actually.
It would, but you'd have to give the game permission, right? If they were trying to do everything by the book and not go down a heaping.
Resident Evil 8 now with Facebook integration,
right? So that if those kind of things happened without your knowledge, like if Amanda gave the approval, and then you were playing the game, like would that kind of stuff freak you out?
No, not that personal, because I wouldn't. That would actually, honestly, that would take me out of the game.
Really?
Because they'd be like, "Oh, clever," right? It's like, because obviously, But what I do like is that moment, which we've talked about over and over again, all the way back to Batman, is when VR does mess with your reality like that. When you turn around and, actually you end up literally doing double takes. That is a cool moment.
Yeah.
And those kind of things have gotten me. But yeah, I think the only thing that comes close to sort of getting me is sort of like this environmental feel of dread. I mean, that's the closest thing I get to getting scared. Things like Home Sweet Home. I think that's probably the closest a horror game has gotten to scaring me. And I was actually getting a little bit, wrapped up in it, just because there was this sense of inevitability of the clicking sound and all that. But again, there's nothing wrong with Resident Evil 7 that needs to be fixed in order to scare me. The problem is not with the game. The problem is with me. I will be the first to admit that. So if they can find a way to change my brain chemistry, I guess. Yeah.
PSVR 3. They're working on changing your DNA. All right, and we got Cornerstone City 777. Oh wait, is this 1, 2, 1? Oh, it's you.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry,
That's all right.
I can't count.
That's good.
Okay.
Cornerstone City 777 on the Table of Tales review discussion.
Hey. Like literally yesterday.
It was.
Yeah.
Hashtag viewer takeover, like a pro. Does playing video games still carry a negative social stigma? I just had a conversation with a neighbor, and I said I've spent the week playing through a game. I've got 2 weeks off work, so I'm taking some time out to play something. To which he replied, "You're a bit old to be playing games." I'm 42, and VR got me back into gaming last year. I quit gaming near the end of the PS3 era just because I got bored with it. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on this? Thanks. I think you just demonstrated that quite clearly.
Yeah. I think especially working in the restaurant, I feel like I get to witness people of all walks of life and all ages and all demographics, and gaming has never been more acceptable. More demographics.
Yeah.
I see a wide range, but not all of them.
Yeah.
There's gaming's never been more accepted, and the thing I hear more often than not is when people when you create a relationship with your table and they start asking you personal questions. The first thing most people ask is, what do you do when you're not here? Is this your only job? Is this, do you do something else on the side? And I go, I do this on the side because I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah.
And they go, really? What do you do on YouTube? And I tell them I play video games on YouTube because that's just the easy answer.
Yes.
I don't want to be like, well, I review video games and I do this and I don't know. And I have long discussions with my friend. And the number one thing they respond to with that is, oh, my kid watches people play video games on YouTube constantly.
Yeah.
And so for people who don't play video games, it's still very much a reality that video games are a huge part of like their kids' lives, their their kids' friends' lives. And so they know that video games are just gigantic. So if somebody like Cornerstone City's neighbor says, oh, you're too old to be doing that, then they're just out of the loop. Like they're just not paying attention to what's happening in the world because gaming is bigger now than it's ever been. And people who grew up playing the NES are still playing video games and actually are one of the biggest demographics in video games as far as age ranges go.
Yeah, I think there's two issues here. One is the one he just discussed there. Is that people were saying that they're actually the ones who are uncool. They're the ones who don't understand that the culture has changed radically without them, apparently. And being around like, oh, video games are just for kids is just like, your parents saying, or whatever. It just absolutely makes us recognize that you have no idea what's going on in the culture around you.
Yeah.
Okay. That being said, I think the bigger issue, and I think this is probably like a foundational statement for the channel, if someone loves something and it's not hurting anyone else, you're a dick if you say that's stupid.
Yeah.
Okay? You know what? You're not into My Little Pony? Fine. That guy is. Cool. Not hurting anyone else? Fine. Okay? You're into VR gaming? That guy isn't? Fine. He's not into it. You are. Cool.
Are we taking the stance on bronies as well?
Yeah.
Sweet. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, as long
I can
as
finally come out of the closet.
As long as it's not hurting someone else, man, let your freak flag fly.
Nice.
All right. So, and I just think that should just be a general rule for everybody. So your neighbor is like, aren't video game for kids? Fuck off.
The same people who go, you still read comic books, and have no idea that every other movie that comes out these days is a Marvel superhero movie. Our entire culture,
like we actually were going through like the top 10 movies, top highest gross movies of all time. Like I think 6 of them are comic book movies now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Also keep in mind that the demographic for Without Parole skews much higher than you'd expect.
Exactly that. Like 40-year-old people who are rediscovering gaming.
It's like 30 to 50. And
Yeah.
like, don't get me wrong, we have people who are like much older, 60s and 70s, and we have a ton of people that are like, you know, not even teenagers yet.
Yeah.
And we love the entire spectrum, you know, but man, like when I look at the analytics on YouTube, well, man, we fall right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So be proud, man.
Yeah.
Play your video games and you play them loud.
Let people like what they like.
All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out, watching Viewer Takeover. Make sure that you submit your Viewer Takeover questions with the hashtag Viewer Takeover in the comments or on our Discord. Make sure you join that Discord. Also, make sure you change your name to Gamecat. And if you do, hashtag Gamecat in the comments. We can find you and give you a shout out next week's show. Also, support us on patreon.com/withoutparole.
Games.
It's $1 or more every single month because we love you, because you love us as much as we love you. I almost had it right that time. And make sure you submit your Viewer Takeover question to withoutparole@gmail.com. Did I say question? Make sure you submit your Viewer Takeover introduction to withoutparole@gmail.com because we don't have one for next week, and I don't want to do the show without one. And that's it. Thank
The
you, guys.
audience loves me, and I love them, and they love me for loving them, and I love them for loving me for loving them.
I'm Brian Paul. That's Desiree Strange, and we'll see you next week.
No prize for the first person who knows what that's from.
No prize?
No prize.
Well, then just tell me what it's from then.
Chicago.
The musical?
Yep.
Wow. I haven't seen Chicago the musical since I was...
Have you seen the movie?
I think I've only seen the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's so good.
27 or something? It was a long time ago.
Wasn't that long ago?
Yeah,
The Richard Gere one?
pretty sure.